as you know, we will be leaving you soon, and we would like to share some wisdom with you, what we learned these last 4 years. Maybe if you find it good, and maybe if you think it's useful for you, you will take our piece of advice and maybe learn something. When I first came to chapel, my first year, it was very hard for me to pray because everyone was praying in silence, which was very different from my church, where everyone would be praying aloud. One would pray in the microphone and everyone else would support, like praying aloud. And I didn't think that this was something worse and that was better, but I thought that was right and this was a little bit different and maybe a little bit wrong. So this kept me from being with God while I was praying. I was thinking, oh, maybe we should just everyone pray together, it would be so great, it would be so good. And then I caught myself like, why am I doing this? Who told me that we should pray in some kind of form? I think that maybe it's God for whom we are praying, and it doesn't matter how we are praying. So now when I come back home, I'm like, why everyone is so loud? It's so good to be quiet and pray with God with your own, just being silent. So like something what I want to tell you, that it doesn't matter what form it is for whom you are praying, and just try not to be distracted by your thoughts that are not God. That is why someone is doing something, why it's done somehow you are not used to it. Try to find God everywhere and everywhere you go and whatever you do. And the same things apply to me, what I learned here as well. In Ukraine, I never went to Orthodox church like for a service. I would just come to see the beautiness of the church inside of the temple. And here I started going to the service and I started appreciating really different forms of worshiping. Here we clap our hands, here it's different meaning in the sermons. There is more of just reading the Bible and more of silence and more of the quiet time with God. I want to encourage you to find God everywhere and not look at the forms and at the people, but just know why you are going somewhere and why you are doing what you are doing. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Karina, but my story is much different than Nastya's is. Nastya was actually the person from whom I think God was working with me, and due to God and due to Nastya, I was at the right time in the right place. And is Emma's here? No. I attended an Alpha course, and after that moment I think I became a true believer and my life was fully transformed. But before I recognized that there was God, but here God approached me and I met with God here. And there have been several things that God taught me through my life at LCC. First of all, He taught me to be patient, because I always wanted things to be my way and I wanted them to be here and now how I want. And out of this thing, He taught me another thing: trust in Him. And He knows what's better for me. And this was a great lesson for me, and I'm still learning and I'm improving in my faith, and I think that my life becomes much more fulfilled when I'm holding God's hand. And the final thing that God taught me is not to fear the future. Even in the moment of darkness, He is always there, He is always present. And I'm so grateful that I had this chance to study at this university that literally transformed my life, and I believe that will transform many lives in the future.
It's amazing how different we are in our lessons. And a lesson that I received over the years was a lesson on serving God and serving people. And I grew up with the idea that service is something big. It's when you do some ministry at church, or you go as a volunteer, preferably somewhere far, or just doing something huge and a mission. And what God really taught me over these years at LCC is that service is something small. It can be something small, and there is no small thing before God. And we serve with our lives, and it can be something really unimportant, as we may think, just to have a time with someone, or just have a good word for someone, or just be with a sad person together, or share something. And I really taught that doing small things is really important for people and for God. And we also had spiritual life event on service, and we